Hello, let us look at the poetry of Langston Hughes in this lecture. To begin with, we will see the historical and literary context, examine his life briefly, then read three of his poems, I Too, Harlem and Cross, offer a linguistic and rhetoric analysis of all these poems and then conclude. As in the case of many other poets, Langston Hughes also had similar background. The two world wars had affected people in the US and rest of the world. Similarly, the Great Depression also affected the common people. Normally, African Americans would have lot of difficulties during this time. Some of these African Americans lived in a place called Harlem. It is a 3 square mile neighborhood in New York City. Many African Americans came to New York City or to the north in general to get employment and educational opportunities. That is why we call this the Great Migration of the African Americans from the south to the north for freedom and opportunities. Many African American artists, intellectuals, writers, musicians, they came together and then came up with this Harlem Renaissance. This Harlem Renaissance was an attempt to revive African American literature and arts in America. This was a movement specifically popular in this period 1919 to 1929. The main aim of this movement was to reclaim identity and pride as African Americans. This was initiated by writers like Countee Cullen and W.B. Du Bois. We have many poets from this group: Langston Hughes, Claude McKay, George Douglas Johnson and Spencer Jean Toomer and Zora Neale Hurston. Later on, these poets had some influence on the civil rights movement and black arts movement. Now let us see Langston Hughes. He was born in 1902 and died in 1967. He was considered a poet laureate of the African Americans. He exploited the traditions of blues and jazz in his poetry for the first time in American culture. He performed his poems with and also without musical instruments. He also recorded his own voice for listening to poems by posterity. His poems are easily accessible and simple, but not simplistic. He practiced simplicity by hard work and experiments. He authored many volumes. Some of them are here: The Very Blues, Montage of Your Dream Deferred, Ask Your Mama, The Panther and the Lash, which was published after his death. He has many popular poems. We have some listed here. The Negro Speaks of Rivers. This was one of his earliest poems. I Too, Harlem, Cross are the three poems we will discuss now. They are short poems. Let us begin with I Too. I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow I will be at the table when company comes. Nobody will dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they will see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America. This nation, America, is characterized by this peculiar racial problem between whites and African Americans. That is why we have a poem like this. This poem immediately evokes Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman, as an American poet, was singing of America, and now Langston Hughes also says, I too sing America, I too am America. Let us see the thematic contrast between dark and light, ugliness and beauty, I and they, marginal and mainstream society, African American on the one hand and white American on the other hand. Essentially, it comes to this basic problem of identity and difference, which is shown in real life through spatial and psychological differences. The question of racial discrimination and the oppression of the African American is a key problem addressed in this poem. When it comes to the poetic devices, we can see that it is a poem of a lived experience and not of technical craft. Images of eating in the kitchen and in the dining hall we can see. Simple declaration is what we have in the whole poem, but it is a powerful expression of a complex experience. There is a command, eat in the kitchen. The self assertion of self esteem and self acceptance is what is important in the whole poem. There is a strategic shift from a singer of America to an American. The poem highlights the discrimination, which is psychological destruction. That is why many black Americans could not have faith in themselves, they could not have self confidence. The poetic creation is actually mental preservation and social progress. This is an example of black aesthetic of this Harlem Renaissance. The poetic devices that we could see in other poems, other poets, we may not see here. Perhaps we have some of them in other poems by Langston Hughes, but here what is important is the lived experience of the poet. When it comes to rhyme, rhythm and meter, we have certain observations. There is no specific conventional rhyme or rhythm or meter in the poem, but the poet sings America and becomes an American, as seen in the first and last lines. Lines vary in length from a single syllabled line then to a 9 syllabled line, they send me to eat in the kitchen. We have a variety of rhythms. That is why Langston Hughes is important for American poetry, for African American poetry. He mixed the traditional music forms of African American life called blues and jazz. Here we have some examples where we have various rhythmic patterns. I am Anapest, vacuous, dactyl. When company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong, nobody will dare say to me. We have indicated the meaning of this I am, Anapest, vacuous and dactyl, and also underline the words where we have this stress. So when company comes is an example of I am, where we have one short and one long syllable. Then we have but I laugh, where we have but I, these two are not stressed, and the last one that is stressed, that is a long one. And eat well, here again we have one short and two long, that is stressed syllables. Again we have the same structure, and grow strong. Then lastly we have dactyl, where we have one long, that is stressed one, nobody will dare, then two short forms. Say to me, say is stressed, and to me they may not be stressed, so we have dactyl again. This kind of variety of rhythmic metrical format we have in Langston Hughes poem. To give an overall impression, I too is a poem of self assertion and identity establishment. It sings of claiming a social and political space for a marginalized section of the African Americans in the US. The marginal space of kitchen is juxtaposed with the central space of the dining table as a marker of discrimination. The poem discusses a social problem and offers a solution through a powerful image rather than offering it as an open solution. Langston Hughes attempts to maintain the delicate balance between the pure art and an art with a social responsibility. The key idea is the personal is political for the oppressed. So we have the overall impression of this poem. Thus we have this overall impression of this poem. Let us move on to the second poem, Harlem. It is again a short poem. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and doesn't run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? This is a short poem, and it is a different poem from the previous one. We have a thematic contrast between dream and reality, deferral and immediate gratification, healthy and unhealthy life, sweet and bitter taste, light and heavy structure, question and answer, then most importantly the racial problem, Harlem and white neighborhoods. We have quite a few poetic devices in this poem. Here we can see that Langston Hughes can also write poems using lot of devices. We have a rhetorical question in what happens to a dream deferred? There is no answer. We have a number of similes as listed here: dry up like a raisin in the sun, fester like a sore, stink like rotten meat, like a syrupy sweet, sags like a heavy load. Then we have another important question, or does it explode? Does a dream explode? That is where we have this kind of oppression and explosion of anger going together. The last one we have ambiguity, a heavy load. What is that heavy load? Is it emotional load or something more explosive material? We have some rhyme, but it is not systematic, but frequently we have like sun and run, meat and sweet, load and explode. We also have meter with I am and with variations. Trochee and dactyl are also found in this poem. We have enjambment that we have indicated here. Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun or fester like a sore and then run? We have this trochee in the first one and dactyl in the last one. Lastly we have this enjambment separately here, dry up like a raisin in the sun. We have the overall impression of this poem here. Harlem is a short poem of 11 lines with a heartbreaking question: what happens to your dream deferred? How long will the black people wait for freedom? That is a question. Their dream of freedom, when is it going to be realized, is a question. The dream is social justice in a democratic country. Despite the great American dream, the African Americans have faced numerous challenges in joining the mainstream society. The problem still persists in the US. The common images of a dried up raisin, festered sore, rotten meat, crusted syrupy sweet and sagging heavy load bring to sharp focus the problems of the socially and economically oppressed people in a large democratic country like the US. The last image of explosion is powerful to draw the attention of the reader to a different perspective. How long will the people be oppressed like this? One day they will express their anger. That is how this civil rights movement took place in the US. Mutual accommodation is good for the whole society. The volcano of injustice can explode any time. It is simmering, it is always there. One has to manage society well with this political or governmental order, proper order for all kinds of people. We move on to the third poem, Cross. My old man is a white old man and my old mother is black. If ever I curse my white old man, I take my curse back. If ever I curse my black old mother and wished she were in hell, I am sorry for that evil wish and now I wish her well. My old man died in a fine big house, my ma died in a shack. I wonder where I am gonna die, being neither white nor black. The cross indicates the kind of interbreeding between white and black. The sense of identity is problematic for many African Americans because of this hybrid kind of interaction between whites and African Americans. Naturally, we have this thematic contrast between young and old, black and white, curse and blessing, evil and good, shack and a thatched house and a big house, death and life, blackish white and whitish black, that is the actual cross, racial interbreeding. Then we have this racial discrimination which crosses boundaries for joys and sorrows. All people have similar joys and sorrows, maybe black, maybe white, does not matter, but all of them have the similar feelings. Even for people who have mixed blood, they also have similar feelings. That is why we say racial discrimination crosses boundaries for joys and sorrows of all people. We do not have any explicit poetic device in this poem, but we notice some special uses of language in a meditative and interrogative mode. The title cross is resonant with suffering. Cross, the religious symbol, is also at the background of this poem. We have statements and conditionals, regrets and wishes, fears and confusions. Actually, we have a physical fusion without social cohesion. The cross of Christ refers to the suffering and redemption of people, but the cross of crossbreed has endless suffering. We can ask this question, why the cross, that is, why is he suffering? Then we can ask next question, why is there no responsibility for the actions of this kind of crossing over? Who takes responsibility, the individuals or the society? That is a big question in front of us. We have a pair of rhyming words in hell and well to answer the question, what is life? Is it well? Is it hell? So the answer is, well, it is hell. We have some repetitions in words like man and black, which are repeated to emphasize the human condition of being black and also cross. We have this iambic rhythm, and the meter is predominantly trimeter. We can see this in this extract. I take my curses back, if ever I curse my black old mother and wished she were in hell, I am sorry for that evil wish, and now I wish her well. Many thoughts, evil thoughts come to the speaker because of the kind of suffering that he has, but he learns to forgive. He learns to live with the given situation. Now we have this overall impression here. The titular cross is a social symbol of black crossbreed suffering in the US. It is not that people mix up physically and have children interracially. They also create suffering interracially. That is the whole idea of this. The poem articulates an in-between state of mind, indicating a sense of alienation of the speaker. The arrangement of lines and non-use of specific poetic devices reveal the identity crisis of the speaker. Neither traditional nor experimental, neither prose nor poetry, neither black nor white. The disadvantage of the African American woman is a double marginalization, and the cross child's is much worse. Hughes' poetry is a poetry with a social cause, as we have seen in all these poems. Perhaps this is the case with all African Americans. They cannot be worried about aesthetic alone. They have to worry about justice. They have to worry about their living conditions. They use poetry as a means to express themselves. To give a summary of this discussion, we have looked at the historical and literary context in which Langston Hughes was writing in the Harlem Renaissance period. He was an African American poet and joined other poets, and he was able to articulate his own feelings about being an African American in America. As a poet, he used jazz music and this blues music in his poems. That is why he performed his own poems in front of people in many places. He was able to draw huge gatherings, and later on he also recorded his performances and made them available for posterity. The poetic analysis and the rhetorical analysis of this poem tells us that he does not use many of the poetic devices in all the poems. Of course, he does in one or two poems like this Harlem. His feeling is there, his expression is there, his feeling and expression about the suffering of African Americans is there. That is what this poetry is all about. Poetry is a human soul, entire squeezed like a lemon or a lime, drop by drop into atomic words. This is what Langston Hughes says about poetry. So we have this human soul squeezed in atomic words in the poetry of Langston Hughes. We have some references for you. Whenever possible, please look into these references for further learning. Thank you.